Hello, in the previous lesson we learned how to create a logo. In this lesson I'm going to use Photopea again to create a banner for a website. To get started we're going to go to File, select New, and now we are going to select, let's select a Facebook page cover. This is pretty much similar to a banner. Okay, and I'm just going to start with a blank one, so I'm just going to select Create. Okay. The first thing we need to do is put our logo. So let's put a section here for our logo. So you can actually click and drag your logo over to the section. Okay. If you do not have a logo, you can create a new one by actually selecting the rectangle shape by clicking the left click on the button. Then select Custom Shapes and then select the Shapes option. Scroll down, select a shape of your choice. Click and drag by holding the Shift key so you can actually have the shape in proportion. So this is a startup shape. Like I showed you in the previous video tutorial, if I hold the left click on the mouse and select the direct selection tool, you could actually click and drag to basically shape up your new shape. So I'm just going to focus on only on the left hand side. Okay, so I'm quite happy with this shape here. So I'm going to right click and select rasterize. I'm going to highlight, let's use the move tool, sorry, the selection tool here, the rectangle select tool. I'm going to highlight half of the shape and then excuse me, and then select the delete key on the keyboard. Next I'm going to Control and D to deselect. I'm going to right click here on the layer and select duplicate layer. Then I'm going to go to edit and then I'm going to select transform and flip vertically. Once this is done, I can actually use the move tool here on the top left corner and use the right arrow key on the keyboard to move things around. Okay, so I'm gonna just do this. Okay, so this pretty much different shape. Or what you can do, you can actually go to again to edit and then transform, and then I'm going to select flick vertically again, and then I'm going to go again to edit, transform, and that will say flip horizontally. So now I've got the shape and I'm just gonna marry the shape. Okay, so this is my actual logo, and I'm just gonna put some text here and click once. I'm just gonna type the name of my product. So in this case it's 2D1. I'm going to use the move tool here just to move the text exactly what I want. Now let's make it a bit bigger. So you can increase the size of the text by actually going to the character panel and by clicking and dragging here on the size. Let's move this further down here. You can also change the font style to something else. Let's reduce the size a little bit. Okay, next, like I showed you in the previous video tutorial, I'm going to double click here on the text and I'm just going to apply some shadow, and I'm just going to customize the shadow. Yeah, that's good. And then I'm going to apply outer glow. So let's use something else. Let's use this color here. And I'm just going to change the screen to normal. And I'm just going to change the spread and the size a little bit. Okay. And then click OK. I'm going to right click here on my layer, the text layer. I'm going to select layer and then copy the style. And I apply this style on these two elements. So I've got the first part, the second part, but before I do that, I'm going to hold the shift key down to highlight both, to select both layers. Then I'm going to right click and select merge layers. So these two layers now are acting as one. Now I'm going to right click again and select layer style and then select paste. So now I have applied exactly the same layer style. I'm going to use the move tool here. I'm going to make sure that the auto select is checked. And then I'm going to select this box and I'm going to delete it. Next, I'm going to click and drag to highlight both layers here, the text layer and the shape layer, or I can actually click on the shape layer and then I'm going to hold the shift key down to select the text layer, and I can actually move this to the top right corner. Next, I'm going to add some text here. I'm going to click on the text tool, click here, and then I'm going to put something like welcome to the 2D1. I'm going to increase the font size. And again, because I copied before the layer style, or I can go here again, layer style, select copy, go to the new text I've applied, and then I'm going to go to layer style again, right click, layer style, paste the style. And what I'm also going to do is I'm just going to add a new layer, and I'm going to click on this layer and then drag it further down. And I'm just going to get the brush tool. I'm going to increase the font size, the size of the brush by actually selecting the square brackets on my keyboard. So you can see I can actually draw stuff. If I change my mind, I can Control Z to undo. I'm gonna I can actually increase the size of the brush here as well. Not the character, sorry. The size of the brush here. I can reduce the hardness of the brush. So if I reduce the hardness of the brush, you can see the little fade edges. If I increase the hardness of the brush, you can actually see that is a bit more hard there, hard edges. So Control Z to undo. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to reduce the hardness of the brush, something like that. I will also change the brush to, instead of actually being an oval shape, to this shape here. And also I'm going to select a different color. And I'm just going to draw these lines here. Let's hide the text panel. Next, with this layer still selected, what I can do, I could actually go to filters and select blur, and then select Gaussian blur. Now I can actually increase or reduce the size. Okay, this will do. And I can actually double click here and I can apply some layer styles. So I'm gonna put outer glow and let's change the color to a bit darker. And change the opacity, increase the noise. Okay, let's increase the size. Let's spread it. Okay, that will do. Click OK. So this gives me a bit more flexibility here, so it can actually click and drag here to include more. And again, I can actually go again to filter, blur, and Gaussian blur. Increase the size a little bit. Okay, so now I've done that. I'm just going to go to my shape to make sure that you select the correct layer. You can actually hide it or hide it, so you know which layer you have selected. I'm just going to double click it here and go to layer style, and let's put some bevel emboss. Let's increase the depth, play around with the size a little bit, soften it. Here you can play around with that, as you can see there. Reduce the opacity or increase the opacity. I'm going to apply a stroke as well. Okay, so I'm happy with this. Now I have finished my banner. I can go to File, select Save As PSD. Just going to create a new folder. I'm just going to call it 2D1. I'm going to double click the folder, and I'm just going to call this banner 2D1. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to create, I'm going to export this as file export. I'm going to export this as JPEG. Next, I'm going to create an animation. So I'm going to select the 2D one, and I'm just going to click and drag it to the top layer. With this selected, I'm just going to right click and select duplicate layer, and I'm going to double click here, and I'm going to rename this to underscore A underscore frame 1, comma, and then I'm going to put the duration to maybe 100. I'm going to double click here the next layer, so underscore A underscore frame frame 2, comma 100 again. And on the frame 2, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to double click here, and I'm just going to reduce the opacity a bit, so just make it a bit slightly different. Increase noise there, bring the opacity, increase the spread and the size. Okay, just play a little bit, making a bit different. Now I'm going to go to File and select Export, Save As, save the PSD. This time, Animated. And now I'm going to go to File and then select Export, but this time we're going to select GIF. And when we select GIF, let's see here, okay. When we select GIF, we will be able to actually see that this is flashing. That's good. This is exactly what we want. Now if I go here and I double click my banner to open it, so it looks like this. So the static banner looks like this, and the animated banner look like this. I hope you've learned something new today. I hope you will be able to apply these new skills to create a new banner for your website. Thank you very much. Bye for now.